Hello and welcome one and all to yet another video of Expressofillia. Today we will be seeing the poem 2.3 of Maharashtra State Board, The Inchcape Rock by Robert Southey, 1774 to 1843. The flow of today's video would be about the poet, the summary, stanza-wise explanation, and to end we will have figures of speech. So, the poet Robert Southey was born in Bristol, England. He was a son of a draper, educated in Westminster School. He was a poet laureate of England from 1813 to 1843. His books were very popular with children. About the poem. The poem begins with a calm note in the midst of Scotland Sea. The waves were flowing over the Inchcape Rock without any trouble. The abbot of Aberbrothock had placed a bell on the Inchcape Rock to warn the sailors about the perilous rock. When the captain, Sir Ralph the Rover, the pirate, saw the bell, he felt that he will not be able to carry out any loot of the sunken ships. So he decided to cut the bell. He sailed along with his men and cut off the rope of the bell, and when the bell went down with a gurgling sound, after which the Ralph continued looting the ships and hoarded lots of wealth. While he was returning to his land, suddenly the weather got worse. Thick storms had covered the sky. A violent storm began to blow. Nothing was visible due to bad weather, but the Ralph was sure that the weather would soon improve. The sailor wished they could hear the Inchcape bell, but as it was already cut down by them, they didn't hear any sound. At last, the ship collided with the Inchcape Rock and drowned along with all his sailors. But even while dying, one thing that Ralph could hear was the sound of the gurgling bell. In fact, it was the devil below who was ringing the knell. The moral learnt from this is justice prevails, tit for tat. What goes around comes around, which is the karmic cycle, the karma. As you sow, so shall you reap. Now moving on to the stanza-wise summary of the Inchcape Rock. The poem has 17 stanzas. Each stanza has 4 lines, and thus the poem has 68 lines in total. This stanza, the poet describes how a ship was standing motionless in the absence of the winds as well as the sea currents. Her sails were not moving and her keel was fixed in its position. In this stanza, the poet describes how waves were flowing over Inchcape Rock silently. They were moving at such a slow pace that they could not even manage to ring the bell that had been installed there to signal the presence of the reef. In this stanza, the poet reveals that it was a monk, the abbot of Aberbrothock, who had installed the bell at Inchcape Rock on a buoy. In a storm, this buoy would move violently, causing the bell to ring as a warning to all sailors. In this stanza, the poet says that when Inchcape Rock was under water, sailors could hear the bell and know of the rock's position in the sea so as to avoid colliding with it. And for this, they hoped that God could reward the abbot. In this stanza, the poet describes one particular day when the sun was shining brightly and the seabirds were screaming in joy. In this stanza, the buoy on which the Inchcape bell had been installed is visible as a dark spot amidst the green color of the surrounding water. This speck is then noticed by Sir Ralph as he was walking on the deck of his ship. In this stanza, Sir Ralph whistles and sings as the thought of spring cheered him up. However, this joy comes from wickedness. In this stanza, Sir Ralph tells his crew to sail him to Inchcape Rock so that he may cause trouble to the abbot. In this stanza, his crew sails Sir Ralph to Inchcape Rock and he cuts the bell from the buoy over there. Here, the bell of Inchcape sinks in the water, causing bubbles to rise and burst on the surface. Sir Ralph predicts that the next sailor who comes to Inchcape will not ask for any blessings for the abbot, for they will have nothing to thank him for. Sir Ralph sails away from the Inchcape, does his job of a pirate for quite some time, and then with his loot he proceeds again towards Scotland. There is a thick haze all over the sky and the sun has become invisible. While there had been a strong wind blowing previously, it was all but gone by the evening. In this stanza, Sir Ralph stands on his deck but cannot see any land around him. He tells his crew that once the moon rises, there will be some light for them to see. In this stanza, one member of Sir Ralph's crew says that they must be near the shore, since one can hear the waves breaking through somewhere nearby. However, without the Inchcape bell, it is impossible to figure out their exact location. In this stanza, the ship is moving slowly through the water till it suddenly strikes a large object and its entire structure is shaking. The crew realizes that they have hit the Inchcape Rock. In this stanza, Sir Ralph has lost all hopes and taken to insulting himself as the ship starts to sink with the high tide. In this stanza, Sir Ralph realizes that by cutting the bell, he has dug up his own grave. Sir Ralph hears the devil trolling the bell that signals his death as his ship is sinking. Now moving to the last part of the video, we have the list of figures of speech in the poem. Understanding the poem is lengthy and vast. We have a list of personifications here, which is about 10 personifications in the poem. Then we have the list of alliterations, which are 15 alliterations. Then we have simile, repetition, inversion, antithesis, climax, anticlimax, anamorpha. Then we have onomatopoeia, paradox, interrogation, transferred epithet, and at last we have apostrophe and exclamation. Thank you for watching the video. Like, subscribe and comment on my channel Expressofillia. Please hit the bell icon to receive future updates on more educational videos. You may also email me at expressofillia@gmail.com. Stay blessed, stay home.